So, recently I've gotten really back into the Peanuts series, with Charlie Brown, all the characters, and about a month ago, I made 2 videos about the nicest Peanuts characters and the rudest or meanest Peanuts characters. And so, while making that, I was thinking about maybe making a video on my top 10 favorite Peanuts TV specials that appear around holiday times, or just some regular specials. So the ones that can count for this list are the ones that are about 20-30 minutes long. We're not counting the full-length movies or episodes of any of the Peanuts TV shows, because there are a lot of those. The only one that can count is the Mayflower Voyage episode of This Is America, Charlie Brown, because that was made into a Thanksgiving TV special. And in this list, we're also counting You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and Snoopy the Musical, as even though those are stage plays, there are cartoon versions of them. So those can count for the list as well. And some of these picks are obvious, some of them not so much. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on your list in the comments, or what you thought of my list. Anyway, let's get into the video. And a quick warning before we start, that major spoilers if you have not seen these. Number 10, You're Not Elected, Charlie Brown. The Election Day episode. I actually watched this on Election Day a few years ago, and after watching it again, I thought it held up pretty well. It's still a pretty good episode. Well, this one features around Linus deciding to run for school president, and all the difficulties and challenges that come with being president of school, or being the president of a whole entire nation. I thought it was pretty good. The music was good as always. We got to see Snoopy in one of his many personas, which is Joe Cool in this episode. And we get some funny scenes, of course, with Schroeder.
I'm here this morning to nominate for the office of school president a great young man. But first, I'd like to say a few words about Beethoven. Oh, good grief.
And besides that, we do get some other funny jokes as well. I thought this was good, but the reason it's a high is because there are other ones I definitely prefer to watch, and other ones I find more interesting. Anyway, let's go to number 9. Number 9. This Is America, Charlie Brown. Now, this is a Thanksgiving special that is actually an episode of the TV show This Is America, Charlie Brown, but the episode is originally called The Mayflower Voyagers. However, it's been made into a Thanksgiving special that usually plays right after Charlie Brown Thanksgiving every year when it happens. And like I just said, I love watching Charlie Brown Thanksgiving and watching this one right after it. It's just something I love to do every Thanksgiving. And what's interesting about this episode is it explains the story of the Mayflower and the first Thanksgiving using Charlie Brown, Linus, Lucy, Sally, Peppermint Patty, Marcy, Schroeder, Snoopy, Woodstock, and all the other Peanuts characters as they ride the Mayflower from England to North America. I think it's pretty interesting to see the whole Mayflower, the whole first Thanksgiving using these characters. I think it is pretty interesting, and I want to watch more episodes of the This Is America Charlie Brown TV show. But if every Thanksgiving, if you watch Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, I recommend watching this one afterwards, since there aren't much Thanksgiving specials to watch, and I think Charlie Brown Thanksgiving and this one are both Thanksgiving specials that you should watch. I highly recommend them. Number 8. It's Christmas time again, Charlie Brown. Now, this is what I call a good Christmas special. Now, I definitely think Charlie Brown Christmas is better than this one, but this one is definitely a good one. This one features a lot of Christmas-themed plots that are taken right from the comic strips and brought to life. One features Linus and Sally trying to ride up a cardboard box down a snowy hill. Another one featuring Charlie Brown, Sally, and Snoopy trying to sell Christmas trees around town. And another one shows Peppermint Patty having to read a book report over Christmas break, or Peppermint Patty and Marcy in a Christmas play, and some other ones. Now, we get another great soundtrack, like always. And This is one that I tend to watch right after Charlie Brown Christmas, or add it to my list of Christmas movies I want to watch. Now, this one came out in the 1990s, so many people don't know about it, as I feel like the ones from the Charlie Brown cartoons from the 1960s are the most popular, like It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown and Charlie Brown Christmas were from the 60s. Charlie Brown Thanksgiving was from 1973, so that was different. But those three I definitely think are the most popular. But I still think this one's good. Now, the only reason I do know about this one is because, well, I have it on DVD with Charlie Brown Christmas, as you can see here. So, yeah, I do know a thing or two about this special. I definitely think it's very good, and I definitely recommend checking it out and adding it to your list of Christmas movies to watch every year. Number 7, Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown. So, in my opinion, Valentine's Day is a really taken for granted holiday, and most people really don't care about it, just forget about it, throw it away. But I still think it's a pretty nice holiday to show you're caring. So in this episode, it's Valentine's Day, and Charlie Brown hopes that he'll get some Valentines this year, where Linus wants to give Miss Othmar, his teacher, a big box of candies. Unfortunately, Sally thinks that the box of candies is for her, and spends the rest of the episode fussing over getting him a good Valentine as a way to pay back. In the end, Linus doesn't even get the chance to give the present to Miss Othmar because she just drives off with her boyfriend, and Charlie Brown, well, no one gives him a Valentine. So, you may be like, well, this is depressing, why do you like it? Well, I feel like there's a lot of scenes where the animators really took their time to make the scenes look pretty good, and I think its story was told in a very well way. Another thing I didn't mention yet is the next day, Charlie Brown goes to the mailbox in hopes that maybe something will be there that didn't come in the mail till the next day. When he opens it, there's nothing in there. However, the girls come over, and Violet says that she feels guilty for not giving Charlie Brown a Valentine, and she gives him a used one. But Schroeder, my boy, comes in and teaches Violet a lesson, and says that she's just doing it out of guilt and not doing it out of kindness to make Charlie Brown feel good. Sure, Charlie Brown does take the Valentine, and he's pretty happy in the end because he thinks that now he thinks that the girls are going to start being nice to him, and he thinks it's going to be a whole new trend that's coming in, which does make me feel good. Even though stuff didn't really end out good for Linus, it still ended out good for Charlie Brown, so that's a good ending. Number 6. Why, Charlie Brown? Why? God, I want to cry every time I watch this episode. So, I have heard mixed opinions about this, where many people either love this episode or hate it. And in my opinion, if you hate this one, then you are heartless. Okay, I'm just kidding. But this one features a new girl character named Janice. And one day, when getting onto the school bus, she actually bumps into the railing on the side, and it cuts her. She then shows Linus a bunch of other bruises that she has on her leg, or arms and legs. Then, when they get into class, Janice says that she's been feeling really tired, and she feels really warm. So Linus feels her forehead and tells her to go see the nurse. Her mom picks her up, and she disappears for a few days. They then go to the hospital to check up on her, and then she says this.
It wasn't just the fever. I have cancer. Cancer?
That scene right there just is really, really powerful. With this, Janice tells Linus and Charlie Brown all of the different procedures that the doctors had to take on her, and how they figured out that she had cancer and leukemia. Sad music just plays in the background as a way to represent how sad this is. But what I like about Janice is she sounds so fearless, and she just sounds so confident, and the way she just acts like she feels she knows everything is going to be okay is really something that I can't stop thinking about. It just is so good, which is why I like Janice so much, is because of how confident she sounds. Now, I'm going to admit the ending was kind of predictable where, well, yeah, Janice gets cured of cancer, which is good. I'm glad that happens. There's some other scenes where during winter time she comes back to school and she's all bald, and a bully comes and starts making fun of her for being bald. But, Linus comes, saves the day, as well as Lucy says Lucy asks Linus for some water, and then she realizes that Linus touched Janice's forehead and she doesn't want to get cancer. And then Linus tells her it isn't contagious, but she gets mad, so he says, "You know what, you take the water, I don't want to catch your crabbiness." And then later, during Christmas time, Linus goes to give Janice a present, and one of her sisters says that she's jealous of Janice for getting all the attention and she's mad at her. But Linus just says, "You don't really mean that, I know you don't." And yeah, in the end, she gets cured and gets her hair back, which of course is great. It's a great special. Please, just watch it. Number 5. You're a good man, Charlie Brown. Okay, now this is what I call an animated musical masterpiece. Now, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown is a play that came out in 1967, and in 1985, a cartoon version was made of it. And then in 1999, it was made for Broadway in New York City. Now, I gotta say, what I love about this special the most is the music. The music, there's so much unforgettable songs like Schroeder and Lucy, The Book Report, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, Supper Time, and my favorite, Happiness. Now, this special is 50 minutes long, so it is a bit longer than some of the other ones, but I feel like the main reason I love this one so much is because I'm actually doing this play right now. I'm playing Schroeder, but the day I'm recording this is actually the day right before I actually go on to the show. So if you're watching this, just if you want, you can write "break a leg" in the comments. Thank you. You don't have to do that. Anyway, besides the great songs, I feel like the voice actors do a great job at singing the songs, and I like how the songs sound here as they sound a bit different in the actual play. But I kind of like watching this one better than watching actual performances, not because the performances are bad, but I do like seeing it with the actual Peanuts characters in it. And I like to call this special A Day in the Life of Charlie Brown, as it shows Charlie Brown trying to fix some of the things wrong with him, as well as many scenes taken straight from the comic strips. And like I just said, the music is great. This is a Charlie Brown special that I extremely recommend. Or if you like doing theater or plays or acting, then I think, and you're a big Peanuts fan, I think you'll enjoy this one a lot. Anyway, on to the next one. Number 4. You're in Love, Charlie Brown. Love is a topic that Peanuts focuses on a lot, and this one, aka the 4th Charlie Brown cartoon to ever be made, is the first time that love was really a main theme. It starts off with Charlie Brown waking up, and Snoopy seems to be making breakfast for him, only to realize Snoopy's making breakfast for himself and not for Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown then goes to the kitchen to see that he has a peanut butter sandwich for lunch, which he is not happy about. Then, on his way to school, he meets up with Linus and tells him that he's been feeling really, really strange. Then a bus comes by, and Charlie Brown spots his crush, the little red-haired girl, on the bus. And Linus tells him that he's been feeling weird because he's in love. So the rest of the episode features Charlie Brown trying to talk to the little red-haired girl and tell her that he has a crush on her and wants to hang out with her. Charlie Brown first tries to impress her with crazy equations, talking to her while sharpening his pencil, and gets himself into a bunch of situations that end up humiliating him. He also asks Linus to go over and talk, but Linus kind of messes that up. Later in the day, he gets a call from Peppermint Patty, who offers to help. This is also the first time Peppermint Patty was ever put into a Charlie Brown cartoon outside of the comic strips, and it's also the appearance of her theme song, which is one of my favorite Peanuts soundtracks of all time. Peppermint Patty thinks that Lucy is Charlie Brown's girlfriend, and just like Linus, she messes everything up too. So on the last day of school, Charlie Brown wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and goes to the bus stop, but he falls asleep and misses the bus. When he gets to school late, he tries to tell his teacher what happened, but ends up yelling at her and getting sent to the principal's office. And he misses recess, missing his chance. So he tries to be the first one to leave school, and he does. However, he misses her getting on the bus. However, he finds a little note in his hand that's signed by the little red-haired girl and says that she likes him. So he gets really happy. This is a really great and underrated special, and I definitely recommend this one, as it's everything you would want from a great Peanuts special. And it also has one of my favorite Lucy and Schroeder scenes of all time, so yeah.
You and your stupid old Beethoven! By golly, I'll show you! There! What do you think of that?
Number 3, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. The classic Peanuts Halloween special. You've probably all watched this one, so I probably don't have to explain the story, but just in case, I will. So, it's October, and Charlie Brown and all of his friends are getting set up for Halloween. However, Linus starts writing to someone who's called the Great Pumpkin, who is a giant pumpkin that brings presents to all the kids that believe in him. But Charlie Brown, Lucy, Snoopy, and all the other characters think that he's really stupid and that he's just mixing everything up with Santa Claus. The only person that does believe him is Sally, Charlie Brown's sister, who, as you know, Sally likes Linus. So, yeah. So, while the rest of the kids go trick-or-treating and go to a Halloween party, Linus and Sally stay in a pumpkin patch all night on Halloween, waiting for the Great Pumpkin. And Lucy, Patty, Violet, and Frida do show up and start laughing at them and mocking them, and Sally tells them, she yells at them. Then later, the Great Pumpkin rises out, but it turns out to just be Snoopy, and Sally gets extremely angry and starts yelling at him in an entire rant scene, which is probably one of the most memorable Peanut scenes of all time. And another memorable scene is Snoopy on his doghouse fighting the Red Baron in the middle of the movie. As this is definitely a great Halloween special to watch in October, and definitely one of the most remembered Peanuts specials. As like I said, you've probably watched this one. We should also probably mention that the kids doing the voices do a great job at bringing the characters to life. I mean, the kids do a great job at voicing them. I mean, every time the kids do a great job, but this one, they did a really good job. In the end, Linus just stays up to the middle of the night, and Lucy realizes he wakes up in the middle of the night and doesn't see him, so she goes to the pumpkin patch and carries him and brings him back home. So, if you've never watched this one, I definitely add it to your list of watching in October, as it's a great Halloween movie. Number 2, A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Just like It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, this is another one that you've probably seen. There aren't a lot of Thanksgiving specials, but out of all the ones that there are, this is definitely my favorite one. Besides the amazing soundtrack and the amazing job of the voice cast, the story is still really good. So, it's Thanksgiving, and Charlie Brown and Sally are not very happy about it. Sally is annoyed by book reports they have to do, and Charlie Brown just says every holiday depresses him, so, yeah. However, Charlie Brown's going over to his grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, but Peppermint Patty invites herself, Marcy, and Franklin over to Charlie Brown's house without letting him speak or do anything. So with that, Charlie Brown, Linus, Snoopy, and Woodstock all make a Thanksgiving dinner. However, they don't really know how to make chicken and stuff, so they make toast, jelly beans, pretzels, and ice cream, all for Thanksgiving. And later, when Peppermint Patty, Marcy, and Franklin show up, Peppermint Patty gets extremely angry, and Charlie Brown runs into his house upset. So Peppermint Patty asks Marcy to go check up on Charlie Brown. And Marcy tells him the true meaning of Thanksgiving, and Peppermint Patty and Charlie Brown talk to each other, and they forgive each other. And then Charlie Brown's grandmother calls and invites everybody over to the grandmother's house. Wow, that was pretty convenient. And like I said, this is a really, really great one. I love the song Little Birdie that plays when Snoopy and Woodstock are setting up the table for Thanksgiving. This is definitely a great special that you've probably all watched it, but if you haven't, definitely watch it around Thanksgiving time. It's great. Well, if you thought that one was good, then what could be better than that? Well, A Charlie Brown Christmas. Alrighty, come on. You all saw this coming, and you all have watched this one. Now, this is the first Charlie Brown cartoon ever to be made, and in my opinion, it's the best one ever made. The kids do a great job at voicing the characters. It's a great way to start off bringing the comic strips to life. It's a fantastic thing all around. So, it's the holiday season, and everybody except for Charlie Brown is happy for Christmas. Charlie Brown doesn't know why he's depressed about Christmas, but he just is. So he talks to Lucy, who tells him that he should get involved with the Christmas project, which is being the director of a Christmas play about the first Christmas, about the birth of Jesus. However, Lucy wants Charlie Brown to get a tree. So Charlie Brown takes Linus to a Christmas tree shop, and they take out this small, tiny one with only a few branches. When they bring it back, all the characters laugh at him and mock him and think that he's really stupid for getting this tree. And he then says to Linus that he thought he knew what Christmas was all about, but he doesn't. And Charlie Brown and Linus reads a part of the Book of Luke from the Bible, which tells the Charlie Brown the true meaning of Christmas. All the characters realize and feel guilty for what they did, and they all help Charlie Brown decorate his tree into a big one. And they all celebrate Christmas, and Charlie Brown is happy. It's great as, unlike a lot of the other Christmas movies, this one just kind of shows you the true meaning of Christmas, and not to let all the commercialism get to your head. Make sure. Alright, and I think that's a really good message for one of the most popular cartoon characters to ever be made. And, come on. It's the second most watched Christmas movie under Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's just how good it is. Whew. So, these were just some of the few of the many Peanut specials that I like. And these are some of the best that Charles Schultz and the rest of the people working on these great specials have done over the years. There was so much that I wanted to include that I couldn't just because, well, you know. And there were a lot of ones I want to watch, mainly Charlie Brown's All-Stars, There's No Time for Love, Charlie Brown, and the one I want to watch really badly, Play It Again, Charlie Brown, because my boy Schroeder is the main character in that one. Okay. But yeah, these are just, I probably should have binge-watched all of the Charlie Brown specials before I made this video, but it was really hard for me to find them, so these were the only ones that I could really find. Or there were some other ones too. I mean, there were some of them that I didn't like, of course. If you want, let me know if you want me to make a worse list. It probably won't be 10, it'll probably be like 5, but let me know if you want to see more, because I really enjoyed making this video. So yeah, let me know if you want me to make another one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!